In mainstream Western media, there is a belief that poor countries have to sacrifice environmental concerns to further develop, or that these concerns can't be addressed until poverty is. Environmental consciousness is a luxury for people in richer countries. But when it comes to issues like this, sustainable development as we know it must be able to recognize the connection between human beings and the environment if we wish to have true environmental and social justice. Poverty is a worldwide issue. Every country seems to have problems with keeping people in houses. But less industrialized countries have another effect. Poverty and third world debt have the unfortunate result of resource stripping just for low-income families to survive. Nepal and Bangladesh, for example, are relatively industrialized countries, from a comparison to places like Britain and the US, that have recently suffered a plethora of environmental disasters, such as devastating floods that are believed to have been caused by a large-scale deforestation in the aforementioned countries. Forests are one of our most important ecosystems. Many of them house a large amount of biodiversity and help regulate the amount of carbon that's released into the air. But forests around the world are under increasing pressure from logging companies, architectural empires, and local populations that use forest resources. There are some environmentalists, especially from heavily industrialized countries like the US, that are also expressing concern over population growth, further straining the world's limited resources, which are currently the main source of environmental problems. This leads to a worrying situation for third world development and poverty reduction. However, a purely environmental approach can blame the victims. Although people today are largely responsible for many problems on the planet, not all of them have the same impact on the environment. It is important to remember, for example, that only the richest fifth of humanity consumes much more than the rest of the world, as we pointed out at the beginning. So it may be too easy to focus on population growth. However, this does not mean that we can be satisfied with the demographic burden of the future. Sustainability is vital for the development of most of the world without following the pollution processes of currently industrialized countries. The Center for Science and Environment, which is a Delhi-based organization, pointed out that if less industrialized countries were given the chance to develop the same way the Western world has, then, quote, we would need 2 additional planet Earths to produce resources and absorb waste, end of the quote. This presents a problem for the development and poverty alleviation of these countries. Focusing on the environment is good and well, but it's necessary to consider the people living there as well. While humans as a species are responsible for the current problems the planet has today, not all humans have the same impact on the environment. As of 1998, 20% of the world's people in the highest income countries are the ones responsible for 86% of total private consumption expenditures, while the 20% of the poorest countries are only responsible for 1.3%. This problem lies within the hands of the rich private companies of the world, not with the everyday people. Just the world's wealthiest fifth of the entire population is responsible for so much of the environment than the rest of the world. So, to summarize in a simple sentence, individuals are not responsible for the state of the world. Big buck corporations are.